What's up, Juggalos? Wicked Clown Reviews here. I'm going to be reviewing every single EP and LP released by Psychopathic Records in chronological order. And up next is Forgotten Freshness. Not Forgotten Freshness Volume 1, Forgotten Freshness, the OG Michigan only release of it started the iconic B-side series that's still maintained to this day. So, yeah, Forgotten Freshness is a collection of, as it says, all the rare, hard to find, lost, and scrapped shit. So, in here it advertises that not only is this a collection of rare shit, but this version of Forgotten Freshness was actually only released in Michigan. And so that's part of what makes this album so rare is they only released it in the Michigan area, mostly in Detroit. So when you search it online, it'll often be called the OG Detroit release or something like that. But yeah, and not only that, but they never did a reprint of this album. Now, while later they did Forgotten Freshness Volume 1 and 2 together in a 2-pack, the Volume 1 is not exactly the same as this. So, I'm going to go through the songs and kind of... A lot of them we've already talked about on this review, so I won't go too in-depth on what I think about the song, but kind of more why it's included on this release and what is special about this release compared to the other Forgotten Freshness or other compilations out there. So, Ghetto Zone is featured on this album. As is Dog Beats and Life at Risk. Those are all from the Dog Beats EP from Inner City Posse. Now, obviously, at this point in ICP's career, that they had done multiple reprints, but it was still out of print, very difficult to find. So rather than print up more copies of Dog Beats, which they were focused on marketing Insane Clown Posse, not Inner City Posse. So they decided to just put those songs on here. And while Wizard of the Hood is missing, Wizard of the Hood is on Carnival of Carnage. So there really is no need to put it on Forgotten Freshness because Carnival of Carnage was still in print. So up next we got Clown Love and what's the other one? Three Rings. Okay, I just realized the track listing is all kind of fucked up on the CD. It's like back and forth, so I'm gonna use the back of this. So Clown Love and Three Rings. These are both from the Too Dope solo EP Fuck Off, and I recently did a review for that. So how come it's only those two songs and not the full EP? Well, the reason for that is Clown Love and Three Rings were not included on the single version. When Fuck Off was first released, it was as a single, and they later released an EP version that added Clown Love and Three Rings. So technically, while Fuck Off at this point was out of print according to the booklet, these two songs had been released the least, where the other songs had been, pretty well issued. So they didn't put the full album on. They would later on 1 and 2, and honestly, they probably should have just put the full album on here. But I speculate that's why they didn't. And then Santa's a Fat Bitch and Red Christmas. These are from the ICP Xmas EP, which was only in December of 1994, and at this point was out of print as well. They didn't include Santa's Killers, as I mentioned in my Xmas review. That one of the featured artists they had beef with, so they scrapped the song. And I'm assuming the same thing here. They didn't want to put it on here. And so you got Santa's a Fat Bitch and Red Christmas. Okay, so finally some unique new shit at the time. Southwest Strangler had not been released on anything. This was from the Shags the Clown EP or LP. I can't remember. I think it was an LP actually. That hadn't that wasn't ever released, so they just dropped the one song on here. And while Southwest Strangler was later put on the other Forgotten Freshness Volume 1 and 2, this version has an opening a cappella from Shaggy that it's kind of a it's almost like a lost verse from 12 from Riddlebox, and it's really fucking sick. It even mentions a jury and a judge. Like, it's never been confirmed, but I highly speculate that the first 25 seconds or so of the original Southwest Strangler was a cut verse from 12. But yeah, Southwest Strangler, man, this is a phenomenal song. I've seen them play it live a few times, and I always get so hyped. It is absolutely one of my favorite Shaggy solo tracks. It is just so creepy, so fun. It's just the right balance of like horror and comedy mixed in, and it's just a straight up banger. And once again, Violent J's on it, and effectively kind of making it an ICP track. But yeah, I really love his little contributions during the chorus break. Hey Vato, another new song that is not that was not released prior to this. This was an outtake from the Ringmaster, and if you ask me, they should have put it on the Ringmaster. It's so fucking good, and the reason they didn't is because a small part of the beat was later reused for Wagon Wagon, but truthfully, I think the song is distinct enough that they could have put it on the Ringmaster and nobody would give a shit. It's not like exactly like Wagon Wagon. You can see the seeds being planted, but yeah, I think like towards the end, it would have been really nice to, I don't know, replace one of those weaker tracks that I talked about in my review. Fat Sweaty Betty. So this was released on cassette at this time. Check out my short reel on that one. And yeah, it's a super dope song. This was released at the Mental Warp show, and this was the first compilation that it was available in. Another new track for this is Ask You Something. Now, I talked about this on my Dog Beats review because it's in the reissue of Dog Beats, but you got to remember the reissue of Dog Beats came out in like 2017 or I can't remember, but it came out in the late 2010s. So at the time, Ask You Something was completely fresh, and it's an outtake from Carnival of Carnage. It's a cover song, and it's just a silly, stupid, awesome sex song. It's fun though. Perfect for Forgotten Freshness. They were wise to leave it off Carnival of Carnage. This is exactly where it belongs. And then Dead Pumpkins. Again, I made a short reel on that. The first Hallowicked track, and at the time there was only one Hallowicked track available. So yeah. So the spine, pretty simple. ICP Forgotten Freshness. Got the Hatchet Man. Let's check out the booklet. So booklet's pretty simple, but it goes over basically not as thorough detail as the later Forgotten Freshnesses. The later albums got like a full paragraph of why it was left off and, you know, their thoughts on the song. But this gives, you know, just simple, direct explanations for, you know, why the album was left off. And yeah, it looks like Southwest Strangler. It just says solo album. So I'm not sure if it was supposed to be an LP or an EP. I'm guessing it was an LP, which is why Fuck Off was an EP, but I'm not totally sure. And yeah, you know, one thing I've never talked about in all these reviews that we've been doing is Dedicated to the Butterfly. Dedicated to the Butterfly, for those who don't know, was something that ICP put on all of their albums back in the day and still do to this day. Every single ICP album you can find buried somewhere dedicated to the Butterfly. And for the longest time, it was a huge mystery in the Juggalo community that was finally revealed with the Six Jokers card. I'm not going to explain the story. You know, go look it up on your own if you want to find it, or check out your copy of The Wraith. But yeah, just wanted to mention that because I've yet to point that out in a single one of my reviews. So this cover, you know, this is a photo taken at one of their shows. You can see here Shaggy is stage diving and everyone's catching him. And like, man, look how packed it is. And this photo is like, it's crazy just to think about how popular ICP was even before they had signed to a major label. I mean, they were packing shows full of juggalos, just like on, you know, word of mouth in the street and just like self-promotion. And it really is incredible what they achieved. And, you know, this Forgotten Freshness, it's the end of an era because, you know, after Forgotten Freshness, the Riddle Box would release, and they would sign to Jive Records, and this is really the last of their like Midwest Michigan primarily era of the Insane Clown Posse, and you know it's a good note to go out on. I think my favorite guy is this one. He's just staring right into the camera, doesn't give a shit about Shaggy, and just like he's on. They use this photo on every Forgotten Freshness, and you know what? I don't know who this Juggalo is. I really hope he's still down with the clown, and yeah, it's great. You know, give me a shout out if you're on this cover. I really think being on this cover would be, you know, an honor. I'll show you one day, but I'm lucky enough to actually be in one of the booklets of The Shining. But I can't imagine how cool it would be to fucking be on the cover of every Forgotten Freshness. So yeah, that is it. There are no other printings of this CD, so I've got nothing to compare it to. I've got a cassette, but you know, I'll post a reel on that at some point just to hype up this review, try to get more views. But yeah, Juggalos, those are my thoughts on Forgotten Freshness. The only Forgotten Freshness that was truly forgotten. It's the shit. Highly recommend getting a copy if you can. It's not on Spotify. It's not on YouTube. Maybe specific, you know, versions of the songs are. Oh, one last thing I forgot to mention is Three Rings has a phone call added at the beginning that's not on any version. And I'm not sure if it's serious. It sounds like a joke. It sounds to me like it's Jump Steady prank calling Psychopathic and like trying to hype himself up as an artist. But maybe I'm wrong. If you know anything about that, let me know. But yeah, Juggalos, what do you think of Forgotten Freshness? Let me know down below in the comments. And up next is the mighty third Joker's card, the Riddle Box. I'm so excited for this. I've got some of the rarest CDs in my collection in this. And yeah, if you're a collector, you are not going to want to miss this one. It's going to be fresh as fuck. All right, whoop whoop, clown love.